Today may possibly be the greatest show ever in the history of recorded shows and the like. This may be like nothing you've ever seen before. And I don't even know where to start. I'm going to try my best because there are multiple things. If you have just joined our venture, I want you to sit back and just watch. Okay? Now, many of you great people are going to be watching this later on, maybe in your car, maybe at home, maybe in your headphones. So you don't know what's going on in the live feed. The live feed is the most of the time, people and most of the shows, they ignore the live feed. They don't even care. They don't look at it. They don't care. They don't respond. It's like, oh, no, 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 you're missing this because that is another version. There are people who are like-minded, but then there are people who live in the live stream. And I think we have the best. So understand what they will do. It's a fascinating story. So irrespective of the story, there's the live feed. Many people agree. Many people say hello. Many people trying to stand out. And to also many people of the live stream, this is the only time they are not on X. They're not on any kind of social media platform, not YouTube, nothing. This is it. This is the only interaction they involve in. Many of them. So keep in mind, that's it. The other part is I'm going to be showing you how social media is dealing with certain issues and how invariably the issue is being lost almost completely by virtue of everyone. It's fast. It's almost as though it's not the issue that matters. It's the response from the people regarding the issue that matters. Does that make any sense to you? Okay. Now, before we begin, let me say something to you. Number one, first and foremost, make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you are subscribed to Lionel Nation. For reasons I will never understand, people are unsubscribed in numbers that also 87% of the people who watch us are not subscribed. Now, you want to be subscribed. You want to hit the little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And you also want to like the video because of metrics and the like. You know how that thing goes, okay? Because believe me, without metrics, without this, you're nothing. You could go on TV, or excuse me, on YouTube and say, advocate eating raw chicken that's been left out for a week. And you would say, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. He's got 1 million viewers. Oh, really? Oh, well, send me that. That's what we do. We send stuff to each other. So keep in mind that. Another thing, which is also very, very, very exceedingly critical for you to understand and to grasp at all levels of understanding, is that this is something that defies any kind of, how do we say this? It defies any kind of usual analysis. We are not left. We are not right. I am not. My political, ideas have nothing to do with left or right. I absolutely, positively think the absolute world of President Trump, but I'm not necessarily a Trumpian. Does that make any sense to you? And this is very difficult people to understand, to grasp. So, irrespective of that, understand what we're talking about is something that is unique. Next, I want you to listen carefully. For a good while now, preparewithlionel.com has been a great and a glorious sponsor. They're from the My Patriot Supplies company, and they are the most, they are the gold standard of preparedness, not only in terms of emergency food, but in everything else you can imagine. Right now, with all of this talk about, you name it, whether it's drones or nuclear this or bomb sniffing or school shootings or whatever it is, the Democrats, the shadow government, somebody is ready to spring something on us right before the inauguration. I told you this, number one. Remember, the dock strike. They're going, I wouldn't be surprised if they say, let's do it now. Let's cause as much chaos and catastrophe as possible. Let us absolutely drive these people crazy. Do you hear what I'm saying? Let's drive these people nuts. Let's make sure we make every aspect of President Trump's attempt at restoring order or whatever. Let's make sure we destroy it. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm trying to tell you? I hope you're listening to me. This is a very, very, very serious issue. And something which I want to bring to your attention. So, to make a long story short, my dear friends, I want you to understand, to grasp, this is what we got to understand. Now, they're going to do something. And you have to understand what they're going to do. Unfortunately, we have not checked with them. They have not let us know specifically what it is that they're going to do. But they're going to do something. Because right now, people are freaking out. And every time something happens, irrespective of what the particular fear is, there are people who are monitoring your reaction. Remember this, everything is a beta test, ladies and gentlemen. Everything that these people do is not just to do it, but to see how you respond, to see your reaction time. What did you do? What can they do? They learned more during COVID mania than you will ever imagine. You have no idea of what they learned from that. None. It was something that was like a laboratory. So to make a long story short, rather than the introduction, preparewithlionel.com, they have deals right now. And one particular that is a Christmas deal, which will at least introduce you into the notion, into the idea of being prepared for an unnamed, unidentified catastrophe where emergency food is going to be critical. You can call it, I don't know, Hunger Games or whatever you want. Can't say it enough. They are telling you, and there's one thing about the enemy, they love to tell you ahead of time what they're going to do. Preparewithlionel.com. Do the right thing. Now, we have so much to discuss, my friend. Let me see where we can go. First, let me talk to you about this. And let me see if I can put this into perspective. The enemy is not going away. By the way, Howie Brown gifted 5 Lionel Nation memberships. Thank you, Howie. The enemy is not going away. Oh, and make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. It's right there. The newsletter is right there. Got one that came out this morning and one going out. And you've got to see these. You've got to see them. Sign up. Newsletter, email. I think email sounds better. Newsletter sounds like it comes out like once, whatever it is. No. Okay. First, they're not going away. They are not going away. The bad guys are not going away. This may bother you, but the bad guys are not going away. So when you see what's going on in the various news stories, you're going to be realizing, wait a minute. We've got shooters, we've got trans, we've got gays, we've got this, we've got that. What's going on? You've got these crazy people talking about puberty blockers. Oh my God! Joy Behar said this. I said, wait a minute, stop. Where do you think these people are going? And the people who run social media want you to be going crazy so that they can constantly remind you of how bad you are, so you will go back because you love to hear people that drive you crazy. Okay? Do you understand this? They love to see you go crazy. Let me show you. This is driving everybody nuts. This is Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson appearing on Broadway in, what is it, this Romeo and Juliet, gay, transgender, bi, whatever it is, some real lefty lunatic, the usual, whatever particular, whatever phraseology. Now, this is a woman who is, she's doing this. Now, remember, Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Nino Scalia, I think they appeared in an opera that's a little different. Beowulf, or who knows? But this is Ketanji Brown acting like a fool. And this is driving people nuts. This is a Supreme Court justice who is saying, this is the dream of my life, and I am going to be in a musical or a play that celebrates and lauds same-sex, whatever the usual this lefty progressive bullshit is, whatever you want to call it. Let's call it what it is. We can give it all kinds of names. It's bullshit. That's what we call it. That's what it is. Let's stop pretending. Let's stop trying to be understanding. There's nothing understanding about this. This is insanity talk, okay? We're living in an asylum where all of a sudden the left, completely bereft of any kind of tangible, actual positions, they decide we're going to believe in this nonsense. Okay, fine. So here she is, both on stage and rehearsing. And if this doesn't make you sick to your stomach, and also see if you can catch the people in the audience losing their minds, standing up and saying, yes, oh my God, signaling, I understand this more than anyone. One time in a Broadway, it was a musical or something, Lucy Arnaz was sitting behind us laughing at and I thought to myself, am I missing she just wanted people to know, I get it. I'm a part of the theater. I have a sentience. Okay, so watch this. I hope you haven't eaten. And if you have eaten, you're going to wax emetic. This is Ketanji Brown Jackson, Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court.
Empowerment. Sick.
Welcome to the first day of rehearsal.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. This has been a dream of mine. I think that it means that anything is possible.
Tonight, we have a very special guest, Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson!
I like it too. I think what I like about it is that I am having a very strongly negative reaction to it. Like I hate it. Which makes me think it must be brilliant.
Got this feeling in my body. Can't stop the feeling.
Got this jail king.
I can't stop the feeling.
I did it. I made it to Broadway.
Okay, yeah. And Juliet, it says. And Juliet Broadway. Okay. All right, children. What do you think about that? What's your response? Anybody? Come on. What do you think? Can you grasp this? Let's see what and Juliet is. Okay, let's make sure we grasp and Juliet. Okay, and Juliet on Broadway. Reviews. How about the reviews? The cast is amazing. Let me see. How about plot? Let's do the plot. The story focuses. The story focuses story focuses on a what-if scenario where Juliet decided not to kill herself at the end. And Juliet. Are there other things in here also, honey, about, non-binary friend? At Romeo's funeral, Juliet finds out that Romeo had many other relationships with both men and women, and upon learning of their forbidden relationship, Juliet's parents decided they will send her to a convent. May, Juliet's non-binary friend, and Angelique, her nurse, come to her rescue. Okay, you got this? Oh, this is the Supreme Court justice. Anybody? What do you think this is about? What do you think this is? I love this one. I call bullshit. This is a planned psyop in order for the feds to authorize Emergency Powers Act and cede power to military. Is this about the? Are you talking about the drones, or are you talking about her? I have no idea. That's another thing too. It doesn't matter whenever you read what's going on, or whatever you read the library. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. They'll talk about anything they want. I don't care what anybody says, because as far as I'm concerned, Goliath was a ridiculous. It was a false flag, and what the Hitler did was a Polish. Said, "What are you talking about?" I'm talking about Operation Goliath. Why? Because I want to, but nobody else is. So, or you'll see this, ha 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 ha. What does that mean? I don't know. Or maybe if you think so, who are you talking to? Because understand something, people who work on this are not participatory. It's their focus. I'm watching this. I'm reacting. And whether you understand what I'm saying or not doesn't mean this is me talking, and maybe to no one. And that's not meant negatively. That's a fantasy of this. So this is a woman who basically doing this schmaltzy, crazy lunacy, as she is in this weird kind of, this is why Broadway is dead. It is so dead. This crap doesn't play anywhere. It's very niche, but that's it. Okay, you got that? So that's what's going on. Now, do you think if there is a case involving some LGBTQIA trans blocker or whatever, do you think maybe she should recuse herself after having been in this? It's a thought. If that was Kavanaugh, if Kavanaugh had been at some kind of a deal, you know it and I know it, had Kavanaugh been at some, I don't know, some NRA skit or something, he would have been. Because remember, and this is lesson number one, good friends, the Democrats react. The Republicans do nothing. They'll meme, they'll tweet, they'll think that Greg Gutbucket is somehow, that's a response. No, I'm dead serious. They have nothing. They have nothing. They won't do anything about this. Nothing. They won't file charge. Believe me, Kellyanne, George Conway's, the Lincoln Group, they would be filing motions to recuse and sanctions, and they would go nuts. Absolutely crazy. Crazy. What do? And I'll say we, nothing. Nothing. We won't do anything. Nothing. Isn't that great? They'll do nothing. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. They will do absolutely nothing. And what's even more interesting about all of this stuff, which I think is so fantastic, is that they will, for lack of a better word, kind of just sit back and do nothing. Okay, so that's rule number one. Let me give you another one too. Okay, and this is critical. This is why the Republicans suck and why they don't have any killer instinct. Now, by the way, rule number 3 or 4, keep track of this. Our group hates to be told the truth. Hates it. Don't tell me the truth. Just say everything's great. Don't tell me anything negative. I just want to know everything's great. We're great. We win. That's terrific. Okay. I want to keep winning. Well, maybe I do too, but don't tell me this. Okay. One of the biggest stories ever is Clarissa Ward, CNN. It is caca del toro, like you cannot believe. And if this was a Fox News person, I promise you, the Democrats would have had Fox News sued, indicted for fraud, theft of services. They would have lost their licensing. They would have been brought up on federal FTC, SEC charge. I mean, they would have said, Raskin and all these people, you go back, Weissman, Raskin, all these people, go back and find out. Just come up with some federal offense, something, maybe wire fraud, maybe violation of the Mann Act. I don't know, franking privilege, postage. What? Just do me a favor. Go after Fox. Tear Fox apart. Go nuts. What do you think the right's doing with Clarissa Ward? Nothing. Oh, they'll have it. Greg Gutbucket, who reduces everything to a joke. He minimizes the severity. He thinks that translating it into satire will somehow redirect. No, he's only playing it to the choir, and people think if you're laughing at it, it's not important. He's done more to diffuse and direct incorrectly the proper focus on this, like nobody's business. Can't say it enough. Okay, now watch this. Remember, watch this. This is Clarissa Ward. This is the piece. Let's see if we notice a couple of things here.
3 months in a windowless cell.
Stop right now. Did you hear this? Did you see this? Are you paying attention to this? You understand this? You understand this? This is the part which is the most important. Watch this carefully. Watch this.
After 3 months in a windowless cell, he can finally see the sky.
Does he look like somebody who has been in a windowless cell? Have you? Do you understand this? Does he look like somebody? Do you know what your eyes, how long it would take for your eyes to completely and totally adapt?
After 3 months in a windowless cell.
Does he look like 3 months? Does he? Does he? Does he look like? Did you see this? It gets even better.
He can finally see the sky.
He's looking up at the sun. He's looking up. No glasses, no nothing. She speaks Arabic. She speaks Arabic. And she speaks to him and others in English. She speaks Arabic. They say she speaks Mandarin, Italian. I don't know. Can you watch this? Biggest acting bullshit you've ever seen in your life. And she's look at this guy. 3 months. His hair didn't grow, even around it. Nothing. His beard is trimmed. Wait, you see later on, there's a shot of his fingernails. His fingernails are manicured.
My God, the light, he says. Oh God, there is light. My God, there is light.
My God, there is light. It's nonsense. This is a butcher. And the reason why he was being held, please read my email on this. The reason why he was being held was because they weren't splitting up the booty or whatever the hell it was. I have no idea. It's the most incredible thing in the world. It wasn't Assad. It was something else. But this one over here, because she can't wait for that Pulitzer because she's Clarissa Ward. Perfect. She's falling for this. She's lying to you. She never vetted this. And once she found out it was false, she never went back and corrected it. Look at this. Okay. Okay. Can you see his fingers? Probably not. Maybe later. There's another shot of this. Look at this. I gotta sit down.
Stay with me. Stay with me. He repeats.
And when they walked in, you ready for this? Are you following me? When they walked in, there was a blanket, and they said, "Hey, is there somebody there? Wait a minute. Hey, hey, hey." And then he's moving. He's moving. He's moving. And he got up and he was in there for 3 or 4 months. There was no smell of fetidness, feculence. Do you understand what's happening? This? Do you hear what is happening? Do you hear what is happening? Do you see this? There he was.
Again and again.
Look at this. Look at this. This is the greatest acting ever. And remember, there's a cameraman right there. And there were no buckets, no chamber pots, no nothing. There was no food. He for 3 or 4 months in a windowless. Look at him. Does he look like he's lost a weight? What about food?
For 3 months, I didn't know anything about my family.
3 months. Look at him. And thank God for that beard trimmer.
I didn't hear anything about my children.
Did he look at all pale complected? I'm just saying, wan normally? Does he look, has he lost a pound? This is one of the worst crash diets ever. 3 months? I don't think they fed him that well. Does he look like no, I didn't see him before. He might have been, the size of Chris Christie, and now he's lost weight. I don't know.
The fighter hands him something.
Oh, look at this.
Barely lifted to his mouth.
This guy, normally people are starving. Look at this. He's shaking. Look at his fingernails. See this? See his fingernails? 3 to 4 months? How do you get that? He looks like he's having a dessert.
But his body
He's thinking, I don't want to eat this shit. I want to talk about
can't
it.
handle it.
Okay, you're okay.
His captors fled during the fall of Damascus, leaving him with no food
He is trying to keep from looking at her because he's going to start laughing his ass off.
or water. That was at least 4 days ago.
Look at this. Want some water? Nah. Look at it. Hasn't had food or water 4 days. Listen to this. Listen to this.
Okay, you're okay.
His captors fled during the fall of Damascus, leaving him with no food or water. That was at least 4 days ago.
No food or water. Look at him right now. Do you see the way he eat? Oh, this is good. What is this? What do you call this? Oh, interesting. Is there curry in here? Very nice. Look at this. No water. You don't drink for
My
4
face is
days?
shaking, he says.
Look at the fingernails. Look at the fingernails. Look at the manicure. For 3 months.
The rebel tells him there's no more army, no more prisons, no more checkpoints.
What? You're kidding me. What?
Are you serious?
Are you serious? No more Assad? Oh my God. On behalf of the Academy, I'd like to thank Clarissa Ward for allowing me the chance to lie.
Says
I'm a butcher.
Surya Harra. Syria is free, he tells him.
What? Syria? Siri? Do you mean the name of the thing on the computer that keeps coming on whenever I say something? That one? Do you mean that? What are you talking about? Do you mean that? Do you mean the annoying voice? Oh, I'm sorry. How did I have a computer? Oh, I didn't. No, excuse me. I'm sorry.
It's the first time he has heard those words.
Unbelievable. And not to be, you're going to love this one, Fake Tapper weighs in as well.
Another just absolutely remarkable report. CNN's Clarissa Ward in Damascus doing vital journalism. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Oh, look at her. Such vital journalism. Now, what do you think would happen if Fox News did this? What do you think so? Judge Brown looked like a happy child. Don't say that. Don't say something that can be construed as nice, Raul. Don't say that. Some of the folks here don't like that. Because I didn't scream and clamor for the death of Nancy Pelosi, who fell and broke her hip. They don't like that. Because these sick bastards here are no worse or no better than anybody else. So be careful. Be careful, Raul. It's Justice Brown, by the way, not Judge. The drones are mimicking the moving patterns of a panzer in a French countryside. I don't know what that means, but thank you. Sam says, Justice Pippi Longstocking wants to direct us from reality. Very good, indeed. Wag the Dog was on a screenplay. It was a how-to manual for the mainstream media. It's been going on since the beginning of time, my friend. Tomas Fanto says, who would you get to write for a Broadway hit musical? Windowless cell, no pressure. This is called Broadway. Who would star as Clarissa? Interesting. I don't know. Que mierda. Yes, thank you, Tom. Indeed. Sam Whiskey says, is that Kurt Metzger? Lou Lewis says, next thing you know, Sonia Sotomayor will transition and play for the Cleveland Browns. Well, you know what would be interesting was if I were to do a Clarissa Ward piece, and if I had somebody who was not particularly attractive or somebody who's a man, she wouldn't like that. No, not at all. No, not at all. Let me remind you also, my friends, speaking of which, I'm going to say this one more time. Christmas right now is exactly 8 days away. And I have been telling you that right now there are Christmas specials from our great friend, MyPillow.com's own Mike Lindell. MyPillow.com. Promo code Lionel. Go there right now. I am telling you, you will make people's days with this. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. Please, just for him, for us, for your family, in luxuriating to support of a man who was stood by President Trump, and they tried to destroy him from the beginning. We owe him. He owes. Listen, I mean, he has great products too. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. Isn't that incredible? Isn't this just incredible? I find this. Maybe, I mean, now, here is the story. Do you think right now anything's going to happen? No. Anything going to happen to Clarissa Ward? No. Anybody going to make a big deal? No. Is anybody like maybe Howie Kurtz or somebody from Fox News or Newsmax, or is anybody from anybody? Is anybody going to do anything? No. The only thing is Gut Bucket will make a joke, or maybe there's a meme, or I don't know, but nothing will happen because we don't do anything. We don't fight back. We get mad, we yell and we scream, but we do as little as possible. As little as possible. The one thing that we do, if there is a we actually go to rallies. This is going to be the biggest inauguration maybe ever. This is going to be a monster, and you couldn't get me anywhere near this place. Anywhere near this place. You would not get me. You got this? This is the thing which absolutely, positively, this is so important. So important. Now, let's talk about some other things too. Sam Whiskey says, Syria is free from freedom. Syria is a joke. And by the way, I do not expect anyone to understand it all. Period. None. I do not expect anyone to discuss any of it. Now, let's talk about some other things which are important. Very, very important. Very, very critical. Before we forget. And I don't want to forget this. You know, there was this terrible shooting, and nobody will tell you anything about the shooter, right?
Let's listen, see if we can pick it up here.
And I say
thank you for coming and talk about how important the media is to our community. But the truth is, today is a sad, sad day, not only for Madison, but for our entire country, where yet another police chief is doing a press conference to speak about violence in our community, specifically in one of the places that's most sacred to me as someone who loves education and to someone who has children that are in schools. So I'm gonna tell you what I know. I'll answer any questions that I can. There'll be a secondary briefing that our PIO will let you know about, okay? Today, around 10:57 a.m., our officers were responding to a call of an active shooter at the Abundant Life Christian School here in Madison. When officers arrived, they found multiple victims suffering from gunshot wounds. We train on this almost quarterly. The last time we trained on this as commanders was approximately 2 weeks ago. The protocols are simple. Stop the killing, stop the dying, find out who's doing this. And the officers did that.
Well, let's find out who it was, and more importantly, let's find out a little bit more as to maybe what might have been the, the precipitating factors of this behavior.
They did that adamantly.
Because if it's Luigi Testa de Mingue, they want to know about him, his manifesto, why he did it, his dissatisfaction with the healthcare system. Do you understand this? Do you understand this? Do you grasp this? Do you grasp this, how this thing works? But now with her, him, they, it, nobody seems to know.
We had officers from around the county and around the state that came in support of this particular incident.
In support of the incident, okay, this particular.
Officers located a juvenile who they believe was responsible for this.
Go ahead, tell us more.
Deceased in the building.
Deceased. Okay, I wish they stopped talking. How about dead, shot, killed, murdered, took their own life, turned the gun on themselves? Stop speaking like a cop, please.
Additionally, the officers began administering life-saving efforts to anyone who was wounded and making sure that those persons were transported. What we know is that a total of about 7 persons were transported from the scene to area hospitals for treatment.
Who's the shooter?
We know that at least 3 people have lost their lives, including...
No, not lost their lives, died. Don't say lost their lives. I don't know what this means. That's when people say, well, Uncle Joe, he passed. What? He passed? He died. Why do we say this?
Including the juvenile person. I don't have any other information about those persons who have lost their lives, and I'm not going to release that.
Who've lost their life. They weren't killed. They just one day they were here. And what happened? The lives were lost.
Until we have, of course, spoken with family members and ensuring that they are fully aware of this tragic, tragic scene that occurred today. I want to thank all of the law enforcement partners and community members that came out to help. Our friends at the ATF. I've gotten calls from my friends at the FBI, the State Patrol.
Okay, why weren't there metal detectors? Why did this is nice. Look, I'm not going to blame this guy. Why aren't there metal detectors? How many times do you have to know this? Now, let me ask you this. Now, people are also jumping on board, and they're saying that the reason for this is because this particular person was on some kind of gender blockers, whatever. We don't know. I don't really know. I'm not really sure. But let me ask you a question. How do you think would be the best way to handle this? What do you think would be the best way to handle this? Tell me. What would be the best way to handle this? Well, first of all, let me ask you something. Is school shooting a problem in our country? Yes or no? Is school shootings, or are school shootings, a problem in this country? Anybody? No. How many schools are there, do you think, in the United States of America? Anybody idea? Anybody? Do you have any idea? 115,000. By the way, Horse Lackey says drugs make people crazy. On the contrary, many drugs keep people sane. Remember, lay off, try to remove yourself from usual types of this. SSRI, absolutely one of the things which we jump on. SSRIs, Happy Love, have saved people's lives. Let us not jump on the idea that, well, this is an SSRI. You see what people do? And by the way, if you're new here, and I don't mean to be good, we have these things. Psych meds make people crazy. Drugs make people crazy. Puberty blockers may make people crazy. Do we know that he, she, they, whatever? Well, we don't really know. But we say SSRIs, right? SSRIs. People will say this. Where do you get this from? I don't know. Where did you learn this from? I just heard this. It's a theme. It's a meme. It's an idea. Are you familiar with what it does? Yes, I am. Okay, fine. And you understand that what SSRI, and to whom are SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors for depression and the like, to whom are they prescribed? People who are, what is it? Depressed. People who are suffering from a form of mental illness. So people are already there. People who are mentally ill or suffering from some kind of depression are given this. So of the sample, now, do you know how many millions and millions and millions of doses of this have been prescribed? No, you don't. Do we have shootings? No. Do we have violence? No. Absolutely not. None. People say, well, they're overprescribed. How do you know they're overprescribed? I don't know. I say this. What do? I lay tile for a living. Are you an expert? No. Have you done any research? No. Have you done any long-term study? No. Do you read any periodicals? No. Anything peer-reviewed? No. Have you investigated this? No. I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about anything. I just, in my group, we say this. It's a thing that we say. SSRIs are overprescribed. Do you know how many billions and billions of doses of vaccines have been? Yes. Do you know how many people are just unscathed by this? Yes. Does that make any difference? Well, maybe. There are 115,000 schools in the United States. Grade schools, pre-K, high schools, technical schools, adult education. This is like 2021. 115,000. Every day people go there. There are, from K to 12 as well, 55 million students. This never happens. I mean, there's a shooting here, a shooting there. And one of the people who normally is going to be the shooter is crazy. Or as you would call crazy. Crazy for a variety of reasons. Crazy. In order to do this, not made crazy, but crazy. It never happens. We have 333 million people in this country. We have more people who are schizophrenic. You can imagine. They don't do anything. I mean, they're really crazy. Really crazy. They don't do anything violent. They hear voices. They're walking around. They hear noise. You will never hear anybody, ever, anybody in the world of social media ever say, wait a minute, back up. I'm an expert on it. By what standard? I'm crazy. Thank you. We say things constantly. It's part of our MO. You say it, the left says it, the Democrats say it, the Bibs say it, you name it. And of the people who are trans, whatever they are, nobody does this. None. And of the people who have been on puberty blockers for years, they don't do this. But if you have 2 people, 3 people, 4 people out of 55 million going to school every single day. Every single day. In 115,000 schools. There is a statistician would say, you have nothing here to work on. Oh, no. It's SSRIs. How do you know that? I don't know. I just say this. I say these things. Like people who say, whenever there's a full moon, they've shown. Who are they? I don't know. The people. Who? Whatever. They've proved. Who? They prove that there is that there are more people who commit violent nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Never happened. Never. So we don't know anything. We don't know anything about trans people. We don't know about any people. Most of the people are white. What? They're white people. What does that mean? They're white. My bad jokes are just an excuse to donate to my favorite show. I beg forgiveness. You joke away, my friend. I just like, the only thing I like is let's don't be insulting to each other. That's all. Concepts, yes, but to each other, no. Unless you say something that is just profoundly stupid. I'm kidding, of course. People don't know anything. People start off. I know people who believe from the beginning that trans people are crazy. Crazy. They're on the same level of schizophrenia. They are nuts. Crazy. Do they know anybody? No, I don't have to know anybody. I just know that these people are crazy. That's crazy. I don't know anything about it. I mean, I've seen things. Puberty blocking. What about puberty blockers? Okay. I've got some crazy people to show you. I've heard people, you have no idea. You start off with the premise thinking this. They start off with the premise that you don't understand something. These people, these trans people, they're crazy. Do you know how many people? Remember Christine Jorgensen? Remember, that was before your time. How about Renee Richards? Caitlyn Jenner. Do you think Caitlyn Jenner is mentally ill? Does anybody really, truly believe Caitlyn Jenner is mentally ill? Do you believe that? She's mentally ill. She's crazy. And she, as far as I know, has not had any type of surgery, any kind of, in fact, most do not have surgery by virtue of just because of the fright and because of the post-surgical this and that. So most of the time, people who are transgender or claim to be do not have any kind of whatever it is. None. Do you understand that? None. But people start off, no, you don't understand. Because they hate these people. They hate them. I mean, I've known people, they go crazy. I said, I don't even know a trans person. We've known one, just one. This is all in the history of Broadway entertainment. One who I think actually went through some type of either hormone therapy or something, and it was brutal. I don't know anybody. Oh, I see somebody. I'm in New York. Don't you think that we're in a city of 8 million people? Think about this. I think if I'm going to see it, I'm probably going to, being in a sample size of 8 million, I'm going to see it. I don't see trans unless they're so well camouflaged that I don't know they're trans. I don't see them. I may every now and then say, no, I guess if you're maybe remember if you were in the old days of the club kids and you were at CBG, I mean, if you were places that, like when Limelight or one of those clubs were around, you know what I mean? Maybe then. I don't see them. I'm in New York City. Andrew Hessing said, sure helped Jenner out. Sure helped Jenner get out of those charges. I don't think she did that in order to get out, but might have been. I don't know anything about that, but that's interesting. So remember, when you ask people this, when you say, what do you know about trans? They say, I have no idea. None. But here's the best. And this is today's. Somebody will say, well, let me tell you something. There's a guy I know, or a gal. She's got a website or a podcast. Demetrius Splitkin. I'm going to send you his video. Why? I'm going to send you his YouTube. I don't want to say it. No. And he says that, I'm just saying this. And he says that transgenderism is satanic. And that after his exorcism, he was cleared and he's not transgender anymore. What? He's not transgender anymore. That's the most preposterous. No, you don't understand. I got the YouTube channel, and I'm making this up. But other people who say, but you don't understand. Just like I said before, I know people who say it's okay to eat raw chicken that's been left out for a week. What? No, I'm telling you, it's true. It's okay. Eat it. You're crazy. No, you don't understand. I've got this. I've had people. I've talked to friends. I had a dear friend years ago who really thought, honestly thought, that people who were either gay or whatever could somehow, this is through the church, could somehow meet and talk. It was mostly men. Talk out of them. You never talk about women. It's the weirdest thing. We don't say lesbians anymore than anyway. But this poor guy, and we thought, okay, look. I said, I don't think you're gonna get somebody to change what they think intuitively. Somebody may stop a behavior. Oh, that's easy. Oh, I can stop. You want to make somebody stop having the sex with other people? Yeah, lock them up. They're going to stop doing it. They're not going to change internally. So understand something. Right now, everybody's going crazy to find out why. And the reason for this woman's shooting is because she's transgender. And the reason was because if she's on the puberty blockers. And the reason is because it makes her crazy. And you say, but do you know anything about this? I don't know a thing about it. Nothing. But I've got this YouTube channel, and I'm going to tell you, this one guy used to be a trans shooter. We don't know anything. Fred Pound says, a year back or so, they said studies showed SSRIs don't work to how they thought they did. Still works 37% of the time, but they don't know why. Listen, you want to talk about the studies? I'll tell you about the studies. There are people right now who are listening to us whose lives have been changed because of either SSRIs or those, either anxiolytics or whatever the hell it is. Their lives have been changed. You want to tell them? Go ahead. Tell them, no, you're not better. You're not better. Now, let's go to another thing, which is the most important. This is also critical. Fred Pound says, don't know why. There's no sun up in the sky, stormy weather. Now, remember one thing. I know more experts. You have no idea. Diet, food, exercise, vitamins, history, law, psychiatry, medicine, name it. They are experts in this. Absolute overnight. And they get focused on something and they never, ever, ever change. Now, let's talk about this. Okay? Let's talk about this. You realize that there's something finally to this drone story when Real Housewife Bethany Frankel comes forward. Oh, no.
I think I'm nuts, but why should today be any different than any other day? I know this guy whose father worked with the Pentagon.
She thinks she is, let me just say this right off the bat, so important, so central, so great and effervescent and relevant and important. This woman, I can tell you immediately, thinks I am the greatest shit There is. I am it. I am Bethany Frankel. It's a kind of like that, believe it or not, it's like Kimberly Guilfoyle thing. I am it. Okay. And it's very nice. There's no, it's not self-aggrandizement. Remember, everything always starts from inferiority complexes that metastasize elsewhere. Remember, the foundation of this is always a sense of inferiority. But I digress. But listen, she nails this. All this talk about the drones. Bethany Frankel figured it out.
You're going to think I'm nuts, but why should today be any different than any other day? I know this guy whose father worked with the Pentagon and NASA and like secret projects, and he has been messaging me that he will never forgive himself if he doesn't tell the people that he knows that for a month he's been watching this situation. And now, several days ago, before it became a discussion in the mainstream media, that these drones are ours and that they could very possibly be sniffing out something very dangerous.
Wow, we've only been talking about that for how long, kids? Whoa, we've been talking about this forever, but Bethany Frankel, this is so important. And she's a real housewife, not a fake housewife. I love this housewife. Even the name is, you mean like June Cleaver? This woman has never known housewifery her whole life. But anyway, she just figured this out. We have been saying this forever.
Some missing dangerous W from the war.
Some dangerous W. Some missing W. That's what it is. A W. The W, not the MD, but the W.
Dangerous. Some missing
W.
Dangerous W.
W.
From the war.
Maybe an M.
And that
from the war.
Areas that coincide with where the drones have been seen have spiked in radiation. So
we this is what she's heard. This is what she's heard. Maybe. I don't know, because there's one guy I know. I know one guy. And that's good enough for me, folks. So, hey, guys, I'm telling you this. Listen, I'm walking outside, and I want you to know, because I'm a real housewife, and I know you've been waiting to hear my prediction. Forget everybody else. You know, Alex Jones has been, God bless him, and others have been talking about this forever. Substacks reading this. We have been reading. I've been doing, emails. Forget us. No. BF here, and your BF. She says maybe it's a W. Could be a W. I don't know.
He said it's time to think about where I am and that I might want to go somewhere with my daughter.
And because you know what? Because if there's a W there, if there's a W where you are, you might want to go someplace else, because there might be some radiation. Now, even though you are in an area that has been targeted as the epicenter and ground zero since they've been targeting, now you're going to think about it because of the W.
So for me, we blow things off and we think nothing's going to happen, but things do happen. I remember sitting in my car with my driver who said,
I was sitting in my car with my driver. Did you hear this? Oh, she's connecting to us. I was sitting in my car with my driver.
I want to go somewhere with my daughter. So for me, we blow things off and we think nothing's going to happen, but things do happen. I remember sitting in my car with my driver who said to me months before I even knew what the word global pandemic meant, I think there's going to be a global pandemic. I'm like, what are you talking about? Wow. I mean, if he had bet the markets, he would have been a billionaire. So I'm just listening to this guy and watching. Now Trump, who's hanging out with a lot of billionaires who have a lot of money for reasons.
Okay, I can't listen to this drivel anymore. This is where we become. First of all, this is I don't even know where to start. This is so sad. This is so incredibly sad. I'm in my drive. She really doesn't get it. And if I told her, do you know how stupid you sound? She would look at me. What? Do you know how, seriously, do you have, literally, do you know? She would look at you like, I am the hottest. Do you know who I am? Yeah, I know who you are. And do you know what you sound like? Not a clue. That fascinates me probably more than ever. But if I said to you, let me tell you something, you want to get scared? And sometimes worse than W, there's a W that people have, not even in their car with their driver. No. It's the W called debt. And people are freaking out. And here's what you can do to address this. Listen to this. New reports reveal that the average person has $8,674 in credit card debt. Plus, the total average consumer debt is a shocking $104,215 between mortgages, auto loans, student loans, credit cards, and unsecured loans. Unfortunately, without outside assistance, many will continue digging themselves deeper and deeper into the hole of debt. I've advised and counseled friends and clients for years who want to take back control of individual debt about this secret weapon that has helped so many consolidate everything owed into one affordable monthly payment. They even helped negotiate a settlement agreement that will allow you to pay less than the total balance. Listen, they settled over $275 million in debt, and they've helped people become debt-free in an average of 28 months. I've had such an incredible experience referring clients and friends that I wanted to partner with them here and introduce their services to you, my loyal Lionel Nation family. If you want a helping hand to get out of debt, I absolutely, positively, and strenuously recommend booking a free consultation now by going to nodebtwithlionel.com. Look at the address. Once again, that's nodebtwithlionel.com. Use the link I've provided under the title. Listen to me. You can take control and learn how to get out of debt now. All right, my friends, indeed. So let's talk about something which is also very, very critical. The rapturous, dare I say, changes that have been made by virtue of the president. You understand this? Let me see. Drone mania. By the way, Fred Pound says drone mania will end fairly soon. HR 8610 passed. GM, can you say desperate for attention? She's absurd. Okay. Yes. But. Listen, we always have had, this. But I love the idea of somebody. So I'm with my driver, and I said, it might be W. And I know there's something, maybe my daughter and I, maybe we should leave. Not because, I just heard there's things called W's. And these W's, sometimes there's big W's, and then there's like this thing called radioactivity and nuclear, and maybe there's nuclear W's. Anywho, so I was telling my driver, I said, maybe it's a good idea. I told my driver, his name is Jeeves. He wears a cap. I said, Jeeves, maybe it's a good idea because he said, maybe there's something onto this pandemic. Now, of course, she's like 6 months too late. But she and others are in this world that says, you don't understand. I live in a world and in a lifestyle where people hang on every one of my words because, believe it or not, they want to be me. They want to be me. They want to act like me. They want to dress like me, look like me. They love me. And I may be standing outside talking to myself into a phone. You might think this is complete horseshit. But to my friends and my fans, oh, no. You don't understand how this thing works. Now, this might be perhaps the greatest production, AI, whatever, that I have seen in a long time. And what makes this so great, what you're about to see, is because it's true.
Coming this spring to MXNBC, a groundbreaking series that will change the U.S. government and the world forever. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, under the direction of former star of The Apprentice, Donald Trump, will challenge 3 million contestants to carry their load or hit the road. That's right. we'll be asking every government employee to prove their value.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Just like in a good old-fashioned meritocracy.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming in. What would you say it is that you do around here?
I mean, a lot of days I really do stuff. It's just there's not that much going on today.
I helped Tanner and Blaze replace those heavy 5-gallon water containers.
Tune in each week as Elon and Vivek measure every federal employee's value and efficiency.
And time. So your study on how cocaine enhances the sex drive of Japanese quail, what's that worth to the American taxpayer?
I think it's priceless.
And get ready for the savings as those that don't make the cut get shown the door.
The president wants to tell you something.
Firstly, thank you for coming in today. And second, you're fired.
The Emmy Award-watching viewers of Deadwood and Idiocracy present Doge Days, the purge of the U.S. government.
There is a whole forest of dead wood out there. We got to get chopping, buddy.
Isn't that brilliant? Isn't that brilliant? Doesn't that just... And you see, what I want people to do is I want to read my own world. I want people to think specifically, think carefully, think methodically, think scientifically, think. Be able to ask yourself, why do I think what I know? Why I do? What do I know what I know? How do I know what I know? What am I doing here? Somebody mentioned before, they said, you got to understand the role of spirituality. What does that mean? I want you to tell me. I'm going to put you in charge of what? I'm going to put you in charge of the agency of spirituality. What does that mean? Explain it to somebody who is not spiritual. Tell me what I can do with this. Tell me what I can do. Tell me what I can do. Because knowledge that can't be implemented, for example, if I told you that watching too many horror films made people transgendered, let's just assume I came up with this. That's completely nuts. But let's say I came up with some hypothesis as to why people are transgender. What am I supposed to do with that? Not make them? What? If you find there is a lack of spirituality, it's Satan. Okay, fine. What do I do with it? I don't know what you can do with it. I'm just making a statement. Well, what good is this knowledge if I can't do anything to fix anything? Well, I don't know. Little Madison, yes. I found out why you're overweight. Why? It's your attitude. What do you mean? It's your attitude. How do I change my attitude? I have no idea. But it's your attitude. It's your attitude. It's your attitude. Well, what am I supposed to do with this? I'll send you a YouTube. There's a guy that I know has a YouTube channel. And he said that attitude affects whatever. Can you change attitude? I have no idea how to change attitude. But he says that the reason why he was transgendered was because of his attitude. And he was basically born in the Southwest. He watched a lot of TV. And he never had a grandparent. That they did a study that all of these transgenders never had grandparents. Let's just assume I say this. And you're supposed to say, what am I supposed to do with this study? I don't know. But I've got a YouTube. Quit telling me you got a YouTube channel. Well, there's a guy, I don't care what he says. What am I supposed to do with this knowledge? What? Well, you're finding correlation versus cause? Are you saying this is a cause of this? Or is it correlated? What are you talking about? Do you know that there are more guns and more murders and more, sometimes actual murders in the country? But we don't have people going into, I mean, they murder each other because of drug deals and territory and that. We kill each other because we're having a bad day. We kill each other because our society kind of sort of likes it. We live in a society that's so freaking sick that we celebrate, laud, and promote Luigi Testarecazzo, who all of a sudden kills somebody, and then, oh, did you hear when his lawyer, who's the wife of Diddy's lawyer, said something like, well, I think insanity, you know, you got to find out, why did somebody go crazy? And I said, wait a minute. Are you saying you're going to plead insanity? So you're saying he did it? It's kind of an affirmative defense. You got to prove you did it. You got to say you did it before you claim, you know, insanity. So you're saying he did it? So there goes that defense. What are you talking about? I'm not going to say anything. Why? I don't even know. I don't even know if he did it. I'm not going to tell you that I'm going to promote an insanity defense. I don't know. What about those eyebrow people? I'm not saying anything. I don't know anything about this. Why are you telling people that it's because of such and such? Spandex says 50,000 peeps on the federal payroll need not show up to their office for the next 5 years. Useless eaters on steroids. Absolutely. Mrs. Ellen and I saw that because it started with that COVID mania, when these people, these remoters, including these worthless kids who decide, I don't feel like going to, I don't want to work. I remember recently I overheard a conversation where somebody said, I've been wanting this particular job, but I'm not going to take it because, well, I'm not going to work 5 days a week. I said, wait a minute, what? What? You're going to see this kind of pre-COVID mania routine. Well, anyway, so back to Luigi, we're lauding him. Mrs. Ellen and I were walking yesterday. We're walking right there where Thompson was blown away, where he took his last breath. Boom, right there. There's no, it's right there in the street. And they're making it out to be that this guy's some kind of a hero or something. And you want me to, you think that it's about sexuality, or whether somebody had too many SSRIs or somebody wore a dress? It's like, no, there's something sick about us. There's something, we live in this world of mental illness. We live in a world where we are captivated by our phones. We live in a world where anything can be justified. A YouTube channel, an X channel, somebody who's got some LinkedIn. We don't even know authoritative anything. Epistemologically, in terms of the etiology, teleology, the reasons for why we know what we know, we can't explain. And when we don't know what to do, we throw things out like God, spirituality, Satan. What does that mean? I don't know. Again, we live in a world where you don't have time to explain anything. Why do you think I have such a difficult time understanding so much of what people are saying? Why do you think most people who read the various comments don't understand them? Because we don't communicate. We're so used to just say something. Just say something. Don't worry about whether they make sense or not. Just say something. So there's a lot that's, and it goes back to whatever it is. And we're becoming more and more and more, I guess, stuck in our own little world. And we love to get angry, but we don't know why. I say, why? I promise you, nobody will take the Ketanji Brown Jackson piece and will tell you what's problematic about it. Nobody won't. They just won't. They'll say, oh, she's, whatever it is. I don't know. But it's like, well, why? What's the difference between what she did and what Ruth Bader Ginsburg did and Scalia by appearing in an opera? What's the difference? What? Well, because she's celebrating this trans gay stuff. And should that disqualify her from a position as a judge? What? I don't know, because people just react. We'll take it a step further. I don't want to take it a step further. I don't want to, divulge and plumb the depths of my. So anyway, we have, my friend. I forgot to tell you one story. This is the best one. I can't believe I forgive me. There is a guy I wanted to tell you about he was a fellow. Yesterday, Joe Rogan talked about this feller. Remember I told you, who came out and he did this he worked in a drone lab, or no, he makes UAVs or UAS. There's all these names for it. And he basically says something to the effect of, and this is important, he says something to the effect of, I think there's bomb sniffing. There's no reason for bombs, or excuse me, for drones at night, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So I want you to see this one. I want you to listen to this. If you go to X, this is my X, or Twitter. I call it Twitter. I can't do that X thing. You can also see Daniel Baldwin, who said, screw this. I'm not going to. Alec Baldwin, you're on your own there, buddy boy. You're on your own. Okay. There's a fellow named Ryan Macbeth, and Ryan Macbeth is some expert or something on Newsmax. And he was basically saying that this feller who Joe Rogan had highlighted was basically full of it because of the inverse square law, and that drones cannot really detect, nuclear, he's the only one. I mean, there has absolutely, he is the only one that says you can't pick up nuclear radiation thumbprints or fingerprints and the like because of the inverse square law and the more. Okay, fine. But he actually, I did a screenshot of this. Listen to what he said. This is the expert who was trying to dispel he appears on Newsmax. Anyway, number one, he says, it is also highly unlikely that Russia would allow a nuclear weapon to, quote, go missing, much less 80 of them while it was at war in Chechnya. Unlikely that Russia, he speaks of this entire group of people as Russia. Number two, the United States, and this is the man who appears on Newsmax. He's a conservative. He is a commentator and an expert in everything. Okay, quote: the United States, quotes, does not want war with Russia. That is a clue that John Ferguson has been consuming too much Russian media. The United States. Ryan, I know you're going to have a hard time understanding this, my friend, but there are people at the Institute for the Study of War and Victoria Nuland and a whole bunch of these folks who are absolutely dying for a nuclear war with Russia. They are, and it's not going to be thermonuclear. It's not going to be, Hiroshima, but it could be lower, kind of some tactical, some kind of a Daniel Boone or Davy Crockett, kind of a recoilless, kind of a. But this man is so out of his tree that he thinks that there is this group called the United States, not groups of us that have captured the soul and the heart and the mind and the spirit. And by the way, we are rudderless as we speak. There is no president of the United States. You know that, right? Joe Biden is gone. And when people do this, remember, I always suspect and distrust more the person who tells me not to worry about something than the person who tells me to worry about something. The person telling you, don't worry about that, that's the one to pay more attention to. They're both wrong. They're both wrong. And let me tell you something. You may not be able to articulate it, point to it. Don't ever, ever, ever discount your sense of suspicion. Don't ever discount your sense of instinct. When something doesn't make sense to you, say it. Don't let anybody tell you, you don't know what you're talking about. No, if you believe it, I don't care what it is, stick with it. Now, always test it. You might think it's a Satan. You might think it's spiritual. I don't care what it is. But whatever your instincts tell you, don't let somebody come along and say, oh, you're wrong. Question it, but not you're wrong. We are smarter than these people. And John Kirby, and I got a brand new, remember, now if folks are saying, I can't get your newsletter. I can't get your newsletter. I don't know what's going on here, but I can't get it. 99% of the world can get it. But you can't. So what does that mean? I don't know. Is it me or is it you? If 99% of my people are getting it and you're not getting it, your question should be, this is important, maybe I have something either in my email setup. We have this thing every day. We have this GoDaddy thing. And we have it, and it's called, let me see, where is this? It's this. We get them every single day. And we have to go back and find out how we have been, what's the word? Oh, mine's called GoDaddy Advanced Email Security. And it never even makes, I have to go back. It's like a super duper spam folder. So here's the way that's interesting. I would say there's something wrong with my configuration. Not, excuse me, you're sending me something and it's not getting to me. It's your fault. No, this is the thinking. I would say, obviously, it's me. Everybody else is getting it. You see? Even that tells me it's not me, it's you. And it's not meant I guarantee you 99% of the people miss what I just said. But that's emblematic of what we are. Why? Because we are a solipsistic, kind of a us-centered world. The universe starts with us, and everything around us has to comply and comport. That's all I'm saying. Don't get upset. Thank you. Thank you. So anyway, sign up for this. Let me see. My friend, dear friend. Spandex, thank you. Cobb's Fret Pound, thank you. Andrew Hessing. Let me see. Sam Whiskey, Lou Lewis, Tom Malloy, Fanta, Franco, thank you. Raul Rodriguez. And by the way, let's keep in mind, whenever you have people like older people, like, the Nancys and the Mitch McConnells, when these people fall and break hips and things, have you ever had anybody in your family who just had like something very simple, like, oh, I had a knee replacement? Like, watch out for the surgeries. Or they go to the hospital and they have a hip replacement or a knee or something, and there's a problem with the anesthesia, or they have a UTI, or there's some kind of a problem later, and next thing you know, they're not doing well. All of a sudden, they say, hey, your grandma's not doing well. She goes into it's called an idiopathic, nosocomial, something where you don't know the origin of it. But they go in, they say there's complications. We don't really understand what's going on here. So when somebody the other day was talking about Nancy Pelosi, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to see anybody dead. Do you? Do you hate people so much you want to see people dead? This is a very important point. And I'm thinking, I live in a world where people are laughing about this murderer who killed this healthcare guy. I think to myself, wait a minute. I've got some pretty strong ideas about people. Very, very strong. Want people dead? I mean, you might, have a different thought about foreign leaders or people that I think during World War II, I would have certainly wanted Hitler dead. But I want you to listen to how people respond because of the anger, because it's not enough for you to just dislike somebody politically. You must want them dead. And they do the same thing to us. Same thing with Trump. We had a person that I will never, ever, ever even acknowledge being in the same room with, who actually suggested that Trump, it's like you can almost see it like in her face, like, she's sorry he wasn't assassinated. And she even thought that his turning his head was a fake. This is where we're coming from. This is this weird scrum we're in. And the same people are the ones who claim to have all this love and this spirituality, and they love God and Christianity or whatever religion there is. And they're into the spirit, but they basically wish people dead. There's something wrong with us. It's almost like an ingrained psychopathology. It's like a choreographed scrum where head and hearts are completely disconnected. It's really weird, very strange. And you wonder why there's so many weird people in this country. That's a form of induced kind of a environmental mental illness. There's something weird about that. You got to ask yourself, you shouldn't hate anybody. There are very few people you should say you hate, because to me, hate is something that consumes you. And there's too much hate in this country. And it's hate that is done in terms of political discourse. I don't want to hate people. I want to beat them at the polls. And let me tell you what I said. Remember, listen to me carefully. The Democrats are planning something. They are planning something either January 15th or I don't know what, but they are planning. When I say not AOC or whatever, but I mean the people who are in charge. Watch what they're doing. And what are the Republicans doing? Nothing. And I'm going to say this again. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know where this Fox News thing came from. I thought it was just it was a network. But it's become a party. And people will say, did you hear Greg Gutbucket or Ingram? Or no, I didn't. Oh, I love them. Well, wait a minute. What did they do? Oh, I love them. What about you? Oh, I love Harris Faulkner. Oh, I love judging. Excuse me. This is a TV. This is a program. They're, performers or whatever. Very, very good. That's not a party. That's not a movement. Oh no, I love them. Excuse me. What about Mike Johnson? What about anybody? I mean, do you understand what's going on? It's the weirdest thing in the world. I've never seen anything like it. And that has become, instead of saying, well, I'm involved, I watch my news. No, watching whoever is not the same as being a part of it. Have you ever, I guarantee you, I will guarantee you, I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to say something right now. I will bet that no one watching now has ever emailed or contacted, certainly not called or sent a letter to a member of their member of Congress or their senator or their local representative. I will bet you anything. People don't do that. But they'll maybe talking like, hey, watch it, was this or that, Pelosi. That has or watching something that has replaced the participatory. I promise you, nobody does that. We're going to fix that. All right. Okay. All right, my friends, don't forget, make sure you subscribe to Lionel Nation. Make sure you go and you subscribe to that newsletter. Everybody else is getting it. If you're not getting it, there's something wrong. I don't know if it's your spam or your super duper spam. Don't forget to follow Lynn's Warriors as well. And we will see you later tonight, my friends. Until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you.